that flash flooding element, and then the continued flood element.
Recent rainfall has caused flooding across North Iowa, including low-lying areas near rivers and creeks. It can also be seen on ditches and culverts, but it's the roads that can be a safety hazard.
With that flowing water, it doesn't take very much pressure to knock somebody off their feet or even lift up a car.
Do not drive through a road that is being blocked with water. Like the National Weather Service recommends, turn around, don't drown, and find an alternate route. Just 2 feet of water can sweep a full-size SUV away.
Flooding is the deadliest natural hazard here in the United States because people don't take heed to those warnings. They end up deciding that, well, the road's always been there. They jump in, drive through with their vehicle, end up drowning, and obviously we don't want to have any of that.
And the flooding could get worse depending on how much more rainfall is expected.
Now I'm currently in the East Des Moines River floodplain, and that river is expected at Algona to peak just under its minor flood stage at 16.1 feet in the next couple days. In the next 48 hours on Wednesday, it's expected to peak. Now, the Winnebago at Mason City is predicted to enter its beginning flood stage soon as well, and the National Weather Service expects it to be cresting at 8 feet on Wednesday. This is all, of course, dependent on how much rain we get in total. Live in Britt, Alexander Schmidt, ABC 6 News.
All right, thank you so much. Alex will be checking back in with you at 6 o'clock. We now travel to Dexter North in Minnesota, where Rachel Mantos is standing by. Now, Rachel, what can you tell us is looking like out there?
Time actually out in Austin now. As you can see, the rain is really starting to pick up. I don't know if you heard that thunderclap just a moment ago. As Randy mentioned a little while ago, the storms are coming into this area, but we're not under a watch or a warning just yet, but that could come at any moment. I spoke with the emergency manager of Mower County just recently, and she says that the most important thing to do when there is a severe weather like this event coming is to make sure that you have multiple forms of communication available. Keep your phones charged, have a radio or your TV on, making sure that you're getting the immediate communication as fast as possible about whether there is a warning and if you do need to take shelter in place. And if you do find yourself out and about in the community at a time when a warning does strike and you're not able to make it home, the emergency manager says that you should be able to take refuge at any business or here at the government center. Live in Austin, Rachel Mantos, ABC 6 News.
Hi, everybody. Back with another weather update for you. Just a very quick correction there, too. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Mower County, all of Mower County, until 6 p.m. as this line progresses through. Thank goodness Rachel was in a place where we don't have severe weather at this moment, but there's the potential across Mower County. We also have a brand new warning that is in effect for Dodge County until 6 p.m. Now, wind gust potential is up to 70 miles per hour. Damaging winds, the number one threat within these storms with a severe thunderstorm warning. There's the possibility that we could have hail up the size of ping pong balls. You were just talking to my ear, by the way, Rochelle. Repeat that one more time, please. Okay. I don't have any more information, but we have Mower County. We also have Mitchell County. We have Floyd County that are in that same severe thunderstorm warning down to the south. But now, while you don't have the storm overhead right now in Dodge County, it is coming your way. That storm that's over Steele County at this time. This is all moving to the northeast, and we're looking at that line right there in southern Steele County. So heads up between Ellendale and Owatonna at this very moment. That storm is moving into Dodge County right there, moving into Dodge County, and that's why we have the warning for Dodge County until 6 p.m. This line right here now on the eastern side of Freeborn County, that's moving into Mower County. These are all moving to the northeast right now at around 35 miles per hour. Austin, you're about to get kind of the core of the storm right there, but where I have a little bit more concern is a touch farther south. Now, looking at Mitchell County, moving into Osage fairly soon, that line will continue to make its way up to the north and east. Now, we've got the tracker right there. You can see the town names and when it is going to be arriving at your location, and that is very shortly in Austin at 5:12 p.m., into Lansing at 5:16. Osage, I'm a little more concerned with this line coming your direction right there on the very western side of Mitchell County, making its way to the east. So we're looking at Osage and then eventually Hayfield. The timing on Hayfield is closer to 5:32 p.m. with this line right there This cell right there in Steele County has a little bit more pickup to it than the others, and same with Mitchell County and down into Floyd County, with this severe thunderstorm that's moving off to the east. Howard County, you're going to be in this eventually, but not yet. That's probably going to be a little bit closer to 6. So this line of storms now has progressed east of I-35, and we have seen damage from this line of storms already in Cerro Gordo County, where the emergency management is reporting that 911 was down. And there was some damage to trees. There's some damage to homes in Cerro Gordo County. And this line is our primary concern as it moves to the east. We are also under a tornado watch until 9 p.m. There are some embedded cells in this entire line where there can be just enough spin in the atmosphere to get a tornado to form. That is one thing that we're watching very closely on the radar picture that the National Weather Service is abundantly aware of, and they are keeping a very close eye on it. Spencer, let's zoom in here a little bit on this Mitchell County storm. There are things that we're going to be looking at along this line, and you see right now from Lyle to St. Ansgar, this is where the storm is really starting to pick up a little bit of strength and damaging winds more than likely along this line of storms. If you live just south and west of St. Ansgar, this line is on top of you now. It's going to be moving into Osage fairly soon. Let's move a little bit farther. Yeah, right there, looking at the velocity picture, there are just going to be these a little slightly more difficult to detect little pendants within the storm, where if there gets to be just enough rotation there could be a brief tornado coming out of the deal. By the way, let's go back to radar really quick. We'll look a little bit farther to the south, and our reporter Hannah Holland is out in the field right now, and she is being affected. Where is Paul? Remind me where Hannah is right now. She is in Austin, Minnesota. Let's go back to Austin and take a look at what's happening as this cell is moving into Austin right now. Hannah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Randy. And storm conditions are really... I can hear you, Randy, and storm conditions are really starting to pick up here. Rain is pouring and it's thundering, and I've seen a few lightning strikes. And I'm currently standing at Dreisner Park, where flooding has completely taken over. And if you look, the trails behind me and over to my left and right are flooded from the Cedar River, which has been flooding over all day. And in other parts of town, the water is very, very high. We're going to continue to monitor conditions here, as Malheur County has now been put under a storm advisory. As you can see, it is pouring. It is coming down very hard, and the wind is really picking up. Storm conditions are really starting to pick up here in Austin. Back to you, Randy, live from Austin.
All right, Hannah, thank you so much, and make sure you keep her microphone on. Make sure she can hear me. Hannah, get inside your car right now. Make sure you're getting inside. You've got some of the stronger wind gusts right there.
Yes.
There is a lot of lightning, so you get back inside your car and make sure you are in a safe place. All right, we can take her mic off right now. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Mower County that is in effect until 6 p.m. That same warning is in effect for Mitchell County, and it is in effect for Floyd counties until 6 p.m. as well. Spencer.
I want to go ahead and go back to Austin real quick. Just get the Austin Tower Cam pulled up here. I have it zoomed in on the scan converter if we can get that pulled up real fast. Just really how heavy that rainfall is. We talked a little bit before, not too long ago, that not a whole lot was going on in Austin. Here's a live look in Austin right now. This is looking at downtown Austin at the moment, where it has significantly picked up that rainfall, very limited visibility. Keep in mind, we do still have that tornado threat, and there is a little bit of radar estimated hail within some of these storms as well. So it does make it very difficult to be able to see any of that stuff that's actually taking place. Also, quick little update on the power outages out in Freeborn County at this time. Looks like there's about 3,000 or so customers that are without power at the moment in Freeborn County at this time, with some of the thunderstorms that were taking place earlier in the evening in Freeborn County. They are still technically under a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 p.m. tonight. We're going to go ahead and move up to Dodge County now here on radar, where you can see still some more heavy rainfall taking place, and also some very strong wind gusts. Radar estimated about 70 miles per hour. So mainly seeing those out towards Claremont at the moment. You can see a bit of a divide in those lighter shades of gray, as well as the darker shades of gray behind that line of thunderstorms there. Going to see if we have any more reports of damage at this time. Outside of that report reported damage from Mason City. Haven't heard too much otherwise. Actually, just getting a report here from Mower County. Some reports of trees and power lines down about a quarter of a mile west of Hollandale. So certainly seeing some of those reports of that damage starting to come in a little bit more now due to all those very strong wind gusts. And again, it's those strong winds that are going to be the biggest threat the rest of this evening as these thunderstorms continue to move through our area. Randy, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I did. Let's look at that Dodge County storm right now. Let's just do the Dodge County storm, and then we'll go down to the south as well. So we're starting to see some additional development taking place just ahead of the line. We've got that line right now really hitting you in the Claremont area, and just some fresh development now, not too far from Dodge Center to the in between Hayfield and Vernon. Not too far from Oslo right now. So right around Oslo to Hayfield, stretching up, this is just fresh. This is developing in there, and it's doing so very quickly. And we have this warning in Dodge County that is until 6 p.m. Number one threat from these is wind gusts up to about 70 miles per hour. Not everybody is going to have wind damage, but within this line, we have already had previous reports of wind damage, trees damaged. We've got some power lines that are out. So communities are going to be affected by this line. Let's zoom out a little bit, Spencer, and go a touch farther down to the south. So we'll go back into Mower County, and we are seeing this line now east of Lisle. So we're looking right there about Dexter to Adams, over to Lisle, up to Austin. We are going to see that affecting a lot of communities in Mower County as well. Rose Creek currently getting in on the not so much fun right there. So from Adams up to about Rose Creek, and in between Rose Creek and Lisle, where we have a core of the storm that could be producing some very strong winds. And some of these wind gusts that do make their way down to the surface can be a little difficult for the radar to pick up, but we are going to have a very dynamic atmosphere here over the rest of this evening. Now, south of Mower County, we're going to go into Mitchell County and show you what's going on there. Osage right now getting hit by the heaviest portion of the storm. So around Highway 218 to Osage, right there is where we have the core of this strong, severe thunderstorm. This severe thunderstorm warning also in effect until 6 p.m., damaging winds up to around 70 miles per hour. And let's look a little bit farther down to the south. Let's go to Floyd County and see what's happening around Charles City. Charles City, you are going to be affected within about the next 10 minutes. It's coming your direction. Right now, it's over Marble Rock, and we have a pretty strong core right now over Marble Rock, where there could be potentially up to around 1 inch, if not slightly larger hail within that, but damaging winds, again, are the primary threat. And we get a lot of interaction happening with these strong updrafts where we're seeing that core right there in the radar picture, where there are also winds crashing down to the ground almost as quickly as those wind gusts are moving up within the cells of these storms. So on the hail detection, we are picking up some south of Marble Rock right now, west of Green, and thank goodness, not terribly strong. Again, that reminder that what we're looking at primarily now is a damaging wind event, wind, some hail, and the possibility of some pretty quick tornado development within this line. So again, damaging wind gusts up to around 70 miles per hour. Around Mitchell County and Floyd County, you're beginning to hit the hardest now, as well as Mower County and in Dodge County development. And we also now, let's go to the Rochester area. We don't have a warning in Rochester right now. Let's look at this. We've got a brand new cell that's been developing. This one is picking up strength fairly quickly. One of the concerns that we have is some of these storms that are developing ahead of the line in an isolated atmosphere, or where these storms are isolated, they can also have a little bit higher potential of developing some rotation. I'm not saying we have that yet at this time, but we are looking at a strong storm that's been developing. So we're looking between Rochester and over to just about Chester Woods County Park. On the east side of Rochester, this is going to be making its way near Century Hills. All right, so this cell that's on the east side of Rochester near RCTC over to around Chester Woods, this is making its way up to the northeast. And now, my friend Jim, are you hearing me right now? Jim Peterson, meteorologist Jim Peterson, is in Albert Lea, and I understand he's able to give us an update as to what's going on in Albert Lea. I understand, Jim, that the power's out in your location.
Yes, Randy, that's basically what we're dealing with right now. It went out probably like 30, 45 minutes ago or so, and ironically, where we're situated, kind of on the northwestern side of the city, we didn't really hear any loud booms or big flash of lightning, then the power outage. So not sure what triggered it, but we're just kind of in the dark right now. And the good news is things have settled down significantly since then. We probably had some pretty strong wind gusts I would say close to 50 miles per hour. So
Okay.
I'm just looking around my neighborhood, seeing some small branches down.
All right. Now, have you had any communication with any, friends there in Freeborn County? Do you know, is power out through all of Albert Lea right now, or is it just portions of Albert Lea? Any updates you
Not
might have on that?
Not sure exactly how far, how extensive the power outage is. It's right now, our friends in this neighborhood, obviously everybody does. But I was going to reach out to a few others and just kind of see how they're all doing.
Sure. And that's a good reminder too. So any of our viewers who are on Facebook, please let us know there. Our email is weather@KAAL.TV. If you're able to provide an update as to what's going on in your community, you can help us out too. And Jim, hold on a second here. We've got Spencer as well.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to add that it looks like about 30% or so, maybe a quarter to 30% of Freeborn counties without power at the moment. And there's also a little bit of power outages here and there that in Steele County as well, which are both kind of out of the worst of this line of thunderstorms at this time. So still some potential for more of those strong wind gusts to cause more power outages as this line of thunderstorms continues to move to the east. But as of what I'm seeing right now, this is per poweroutage.us. We're seeing about maybe a third to a quarter of Freeborn County without power at this time. It doesn't detail any specific locations, though.
Okay. Thank you, Spencer. And Jim, my friend, take care there. You need us to send anything? Need us to DoorDash you anything? You being able to get yourself dinner prepared tonight with no power?
Yeah, we put the dinner in the oven before the storms hit. And so we got lucky there. The fridge is closed. We're just kind of hunkering it down and, again, just waiting for the power to come on. But, as you have probably been telling the viewers and as everyone knows right now, the worst has certainly passed through Albert Lea. So we're just waiting for the lights to come on.
Yep, that is good news. So even though you still have right now, Jim, and thank you very much for taking the time to join us on air this evening in Freeborn County right now. I'm seeing lightning on the lightning detection network. This has decreased in intensity, but you've got some real soaking rain. Let's go back just a little bit to Freeborn County and show you what's going on there. Good heavy soaking rain around Albert Lea. The severe threat has passed, but now that severe threat is in Mower County. So we'll take a look there. It's currently in Austin that has passed you by. That warning is still in effect. You could still have some very gusty winds on the backside of this storm system, but now the leading edge is in Sargent, just getting to Sargent. Waltham, you're right underneath this as well, from southern Dodge County through Dodge County. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 6 p.m. Central Mower County, the leading edge of this line, and that'll continue. So Osage right now, you're also being hit by that. This is going to continue to extend to the east, and we're putting a track on this. While we do have now, where there's another cell that's developed in Olmsted County on the western side of town, but the leading edge of this line is going to be in Wasioja at 524, Casson at 530, Riceville 533, Byron 539. You can see the names right there. Stewartville 547. New Haven at 542, Rochester at 553, so just before our 6 p.m. news, and Marion at 602, Cresco at 611. Right now, we don't have that warning extending into Howard County, but that was more than likely going to change as this storm continues to progress off to the east. So the leading edge right there in Mower County near Dexter. Spencer, what have you got?
I just wanted to add that literally as you were speaking, Randy, they actually just extended that severe thunderstorm warning into Olmsted, Fillmore, Western Fillmore County, as well as Howard County, right as you were just talking about some of that. So we're going to see what time all of this expires at, likely going to expire probably about 6:30 or 7 or so. Now, the threat is not in any of these counties just yet, but this line has not really showed any sign of slowing down. There it is, about 6:30 p.m. At 6:30 p.m. is when the severe thunderstorm warning expires. I do want to also add that we have that tornado possible as well. Randy, did you have something that you wanted to say?
No, I wanted you keep going. I'm going to take care of a little bit of
something.
Oh,
okay. Gotcha. Yep. So we do have the tornado possible tag now on this line of thunderstorms as well to go along with a couple of those isolated cells in Olmsted County, specifically northeast of Rochester and a little bit in the southwestern part of Rochester as well. So we could see some occasional spin up take place along this line of thunderstorms. We're actually seeing some of that up closer towards Zumbrota, Goodhue, Cannon Falls, Leon included in that. Most of this being outside of the ABC6 viewing area at this time, or all of this being outside of that ABC6 viewing area technically. But right now, the biggest concern for us locally, it is continuing those strong, very strong wind gusts up as high as estimated as 70 miles per hour. So I'm currently looking to see if we have any additional damage reports that are coming in at this time. So far, not seeing any more reports coming in at the moment, but for right now, we do continue to keep those very strong estimated wind gusts up closer towards 70 miles an hour or so. So really, if you're in Mower County, Mitchell County, Floyd County, as well as Dodge County, really just east of I-35 there, where we're seeing those strongest wind gusts taking place at, you're going to want to make sure that you're inside, specifically the western half of Mower County, although it's starting to get very close towards Dexter and Elkton. Adams, basically within the next couple minutes, looking to get some of that rain there. Once we get up into Dodge County, it's mainly up towards Dodge Center. Hayfield starting to get a little bit more of that heavy rainfall as well. Casson, Manorville area getting some heavy rainfall from some newer development that's taking place, and also stretching downward into Osage, which is getting through some of the worst of this. We did just have a what was that?
We're going to have a power outage map here in just a little bit.
Okay.
So we're going to have a power outage map to show everyone where we're having those issues. All right. So here's a look at it right now. All right. I'm just getting my eyes on this for the very first time. All right. So behind me is Spring Valley. And now this is going over to Albert Lea. All right. So how many power outages are they? All right, so over 500 power outages in Albert Lea. So we're also seeing those power outages on the northeast, just to the northeast of Albert Lea. And what are we looking at? Okay, we're looking at the Mason City area. These are power outages that are happening right now around Clear Lake and Mason City, as that line has spread a little bit farther off to the east now into Mitchell and Floyd counties, and now into Howard County. So we have a number of power outages. It can be very difficult to pin down exactly how many sometimes, but this is very helpful to see what's going on. So in Mason City, we've got some power outages. And is this a number of households, by the way, that we're looking at? We're not all right. So we're just taking a look at some of the power outages that we have across the area. Let's go back. So we still have Dodge County. That's in a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 p.m., but they've extended it into Olmsted County, and that warning is in effect now until 6:30. And this cell right here. Now, I know it doesn't look like much on this particular picture, but this has shown some signs of really perking up over about the last 5 minutes. So there's another scan on the radar that should come up shortly, but this one is showing some pretty rapid development here. So this is in between Rochester and Byron on the west side of the city of Rochester. We are also having some brownouts right here.
Would you look at that?
So we're getting a little bit of power outage issue. Lightning can cause this. Strong winds can cause this. We are looking at, well, at least my lights are still on right now, so that's good, but they're flickering in the background.
There's a couple lights that are over in the weather center that are also still on, but we also have plenty of lights that are flickering at the moment as well could be a lightning strike, maybe a couple strong wind gusts out of some of those isolated cells in Olmsted County. Looks like my computer's starting to get a little bit slow at this time as well.
We're probably on the battery backup right now on these our computer systems. We are looking at an intensification of that cell between Rochester and Douglas. So the northwest side of Rochester has the potential of some. We got another update on the radar sweep for you right there, and that's what I was looking at right there. Rochester on the northwest side around West Circle Drive. So from Highway 14 all along West Circle, and on the velocity right there, just a heads up, there's a little something going on. All right. Are you seeing that too, Spencer? We just have the possibility of the winds changing direction right there with that updraft.
Yeah, so this would be in the west side of Rochester, just north of Highway 14.
All right. And by the way, we did get a 54 mile per hour wind gust at Dodge Center, 54 mile per hour wind gust measured at Dodge Center. Austin, Minnesota at KAUM, so at the airport, the highest report was 48 miles per hour there, so severe wind gusts possible around Mower County. Let's zoom out on the radar picture, Spencer, just to get kind of a full perspective now on what's going on across the area currently with this line of storms. You're on velocity now. Let's go over to reflectivity and take a look at the very latest with this line of storms as it continues to move from west to east. Oh, okay. All right, so let's take a quick look at the radar picture here. Mower County, Spencer, in Mower County from Austin to about Rose Creek and Adams. This is where Rachel Mantos is right now, and Rachel is driving out of Austin in that direction. So that is where we currently have just a little less bite to that storm currently in Austin, but in central to eastern Mower County, that is intensified. And by the way, that is moving into Grand Meadow very soon. So we are looking at Grand Meadow being at the leading edge of that storm now or within the next couple of minutes. All right, there's Rachel right now. Rachel, can you hear me? Is Rachel's microphone on by chance? All right, she cannot hear me at this time, but we are looking at right now where she's at. The conditions are a little bit better than they are farther to the east. So getting over to Rose Creek, Adams, Teope, Elkton, Dexter, and very soon in Grand Meadow. Actually, the storm, the leading edge is getting in to the western side of Grand Meadow, at least according to the very latest radar sweep that we have. And now one of the stronger cells that's showing up is that cell that's between Douglas and Rochester. That's moving quickly to the northeast, and that is now located just southeast of Orinoco and continues to move up to the northeast. And also we have another cell, pardon me, that's popped up now in Elgin. And that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Olmsted County until 6:30 p.m. The damage threat, they put tags on these warnings just to kind of notify everybody as to what exactly is going on. And the potential of damage, they say, is considerable. That's from the National Weather Service, so we take them at their word. We have already seen damage from these storms as they move from west to east, and we're looking at that leading edge now making its way to the eastern side of Mower County, Grand Meadow, Racine. Racine, it is just on your doorstep, moving into Spring Valley soon. Ostrander, Leroy, you're on the leading edge, and that is where wind gusts are going to be up to around 70 miles per hour. This cell has shown some strength here. Now, this is up to about 75th right there, 65th to 75th, where that storm is especially strong right now. Yes, getting over to 75th Street Northwest on the north side of Rochester, and this is making its way off to the northeast. That's going to be moving into Elgin. So some damaging wind possibility there, up to around 70 miles per hour, some very heavy rain, and we have also had frequent cloud-to-ground lightning with these storms as well. So that line of severe thunderstorms extending into the western side of Fillmore County. Now let's get to the leading edge and show everyone where this is going. This is now south of Stewartville, just into High Forest right there, and then south on Highway 63 toward Racine, getting into Spring Valley. So Racine, you're on the leading edge of the storm. This is going to be in Spring Valley in about the next 15 minutes. And Leroy, this is hitting you right now. You're going to have the potential of some wind gusts up to around 60 to 70 miles per hour. So you're going to want to be staying away from windows, getting into your basement. This is also something that we look for in these events. Notice this core right there. This starts to show the sign. If we start to see this frequently too, where you get some of these bowing segments in the updrafts to where there could be some strong wind just on the back side of that. So it's when storms develop, it's always a balancing exchange. There's air going up in these storms, and then there's air coming down. And it's hard to say exactly, but this is moving off to the northeast. So as it's moving that direction, there could be a little bit of air pooling behind it, which is increasing downdraft strength. That's just one of the signatures with these strong storms, that there could be some stronger wind. And actually, Spencer, if we go over to velocity, we're probably not going to see a lot of difference with that right now, but that's one of those things that there we are. Right there, and we have that little bit of different velocity on the back side of this. So again, that's showing the possibility that we could have some strong winds in some of these spots. And look at that right there, that line of blue and green right along the leading edge. So as the winds are changing direction, there's that warm, humid air feeding into the storms. Winds are out of the southeast, and on the back side of that storm, the wind is going in a different direction as that outflow from the storms is pushing down toward the ground and crashing to the ground and making for some of those damaging winds. So it's not just something that is moving along the ground level, it's air that's going up in the storm and crashing down to the ground. And sometimes that can lead to some of those stronger damaging wind gusts. Looking at that right now in Leroy, down to the south, now into Howard County. As I understand, Spencer, Fillmore County under that warning until 6:30, up to right about here. And then now is that same for Howard County? Howard County in that warning until 6:30 p.m.
Howard County's in that warning until 6:30 p.m. as well as Olmsted County until 6:30 p.m. And then for Fillmore County, it is just the west side of the county, whereas for Olmsted County and Howard County, it encompasses the entire county. I do believe that as long as this line of thunderstorms continues to maintain the strength that it has showcased up until this point. I would not be surprised if we saw the rest of Fillmore County added in a severe thunderstorm warning as well, heading maybe closer towards the top of the hour, so closer towards 6 p.m. And maybe that warning expiring around 7 p.m. or so, just kind of based on the general trend of this entire system. But I kind of want to glance a little bit further out real fast. Really, we've kind of seen a bit of a Boeing segment across almost this entire line of thunderstorms here, and that has really allowed for these winds to intensify pretty consistently as these thunderstorms have moved further and further to the east a little bit. I'm going to go back over the last maybe hour or so and see if we can see it kind of loop. It really started out as kind of a bit of a thin line of thunderstorms, mostly broken apart, but it's really become a consistent line of thunderstorms as it has moved further and further to the east compared to when these thunderstorms were over Albert Lea or even just closer towards I-35 in general. And as this line of thunderstorms continues to be relatively consistent like what we're experiencing currently, it is going to be these straight line wind gusts that are going to remain that biggest threat. I've said it multiple times. Randy Brock has said it multiple times about those winds. That is going to be the primary threat. We've already had some damage in Mason City that was reported to the 911 center. Plenty of people in Albert Lea are without power at this time, including meteorologist Jim Peterson. And with these winds intensifying a little bit, as that line of thunderstorms starts to come together more and more, that's going to increase the likelihood that we could continue to see some more damage reports come in. Although at this time, not hearing any more additional damage reports. I'm going to take a look to see if there's anything additional that's come in, whether it be in northern Iowa or southern Minnesota, but I'm not seeing any additional damage reports coming in at this time. Randy, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to add here just a review of the radar. Are we, by the way, yeah, there we are. Hi, I just floated back in here. Here's the leading edge. So this is a Highway 63 right here. Show you what the leading edge of this is. That's Highway 63, Spring Valley right there. This line is pushing to the east. Now, technically speaking, now, just only looking at the lines on the warning, that does stop at Preston. So right now, within that warning, it's Fillmore, Chatfield, Preston, Greenleafton, Spring Valley, Florenceville, Lime Springs, and Cresco. More than likely, it's going to be all of Fillmore County over time. So even though you're not in that warning right now, east of Preston, you're not in that warning right now in Lanesboro and Rushford and Amherst and Yucatan and Elba. It is going to be extending to the east as this line progresses. We just don't want to have warnings. The National Weather Service doesn't want to issue warnings too far in advance of where that line is. But now that line is just, there it is, right on the Fillmore County, Mower County line. And in Austin, a very heavy rain, and the winds are strong there. We have Rachel. Let's go back to Rachel and take a look at what's going on. Just a little bit of ground truth as to what's happening. She's on her way to Rose Creek and Adams and on the road right now. And as you can see, the conditions, by the way, Rachel's not driving, but we're looking at the live drive in Austin right now as she's heading to the south and east. Rachel, hi. Do you hear me now?
Hi, Randy. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we're just leaving Austin now, headed toward Rose Creek. We're on I-90. You can take a look at these conditions. The rain is coming down pretty heavily. We've seen quite a few lightning strikes as we've been heading down the road here. The rain is just coming down. We keep hearing more thunder, more lightning coming down as the storm continues to move through the area. Headed down toward Rose Creek now, as I mentioned. And that's about it. Back to you, Randy.
Yep, Rachel, thank you so much. And stay safe out there. You can see there are other people who are out on the highway too. The conditions have weakened a little bit in the Austin area, still looking at the possibility of some strong winds east of Austin, but especially on the eastern side of Mower County, leading edge with the potential of the strongest winds now into Fillmore County, but still from Leroy up to Grand Meadow, there's that possibility of strong damaging winds. Let's go south into Iowa and show you what's happening in Howard County, and then back into Floyd County. The leading edge back a little bit now, but you're still underneath a pretty strong core there on the eastern side of Floyd County. So from Nashua to Charles City and then up to Alta Vista and up to Osage still. It's weakening a little bit for you around Osage and Rockford, but there's still some intensity to that storm. There's still going to be, and there still is. I'm looking at the lightning network here. on my iPad, and there are still a lot of lightning strikes back on the western side, especially right now around Rudd and Rockford and Marble Rock and Floyd in Floyd County over to Charles City. So things are hopping right now in Howard County, Floyd County, Mitchell counties as this storm continues to progress. There's Highway 63 right there, and this leading edge is nearing that, and that's where there's that higher potential that we could have those very strong winds. And also an update coming out of the Storm Prediction Center in Northeast Iowa. This looks like, and I'm going to pull this up here in just a second and get the very latest. Spencer, do you want to take over for a second while I just look at the details of what we're getting an update on the severe threat for the tornado watch? But yes, there is still the possibility ahead of this line that we'll see the development of more singular supercellular activity. And we're watching that right now from Olmsted County into Winona County, and just a little bit farther down to the south on the eastern side of Fillmore County to Houston County to Winneshiek County. And that is just getting a little outside of our viewing area, but now we've seen some additional development right there. And by the looks of things, and this is my hope, is that once this line and the leading edge moves through, things will be considerably weaker behind it. And that's going to be the show, minus the potential of a little extra development tonight. Spencer.
Yeah, I actually have a photo that our very own Hannah Holland sent in to us. This is actually a branch that is down in Austin as a result, likely of some of those very strong wind gusts. Not exactly sure where at in Austin this is at, but still very potent wind gusts out of these thunderstorms. And as this line of thunderstorms has bowed out a little bit, and some of those wind gusts, at least estimated, have intensified a little bit, we are going to see a bit of an increase in this threat as these line of thunderstorms continues to move further and further to the east. Rochester starting to get on this activity a little bit more, and this system just continues to bow out more and more as we transition. We can go ahead and transition back to radar at this time again. So going to continue to see the potential of this line of thunderstorms to produce some very strong wind gusts. Going to shift down to northern Iowa. This is technically out of our area a little bit, but this is just south of Floyd County where we're seeing this, a tornado warning in Bremer, Butler, and Grundy counties, including Allison, Parkersburg, Plainfield, among many other communities. I want to see if there's a bit of a solid rotation couplet showing up with this. Looks like we might be having a little bit of some issues sampling some of the data. It can get a little bit difficult to sample data in northern Iowa sometimes. Looks like this might be more of a QLCS tornado situation here that we are seeing in northern Iowa. That rainfall really starting to intensify now on our Broadway Plaza Tower Cam. Not the Broadway Plaza Tower Cam, just outside of studio. It is falling pretty hard at this time, but not really falling that hard in downtown Rochester just yet, although it probably will start to fall pretty hard here within the next few minutes. Also, that tree branch that Hannah was talking about, it's on 5th. It's at the corner of 4th Street Southeast and 5th Avenue Southeast in Austin. And then she also actually just sent another photo to us. I'll just get this pulled up here in just a moment of another tree branch that is down in 8th Street North Southwest in Austin. So south side of Austin really getting the brunt of some of this damage here. As you can see, this tree looks like it was almost completely snapped in half thanks to all those very strong wind gusts. Could have been a bit of a cloud to ground lightning strike as well, but it most likely due to some of those very strong wind gusts that this line of thunderstorms has possessed. In fact, sounds like we have a little bit of video as well from producer. Go ahead and let's see if we can get some of that video here.
So we got some flooding video right now. And could you tell us where this is, please, Paul? Okay, this is in Austin right now. So the water levels have come up considerably. Any more details would be helpful, whether it's Dobbins, which park? Dry Deer Park in Austin. So the good news is the way that the river systems have been worked, and with any little flood control projects, the parks are in places that flood first. And we see that through a lot of north central Iowa and south central Minnesota, where, and then again, all across the area where there have been some projects. So we're seeing this right now in the parks first. We also have the intensity has increased here right at the studios, and we have very heavy rain on top of us now. We're going to have some gusty winds. Showing you a quick tour now. We have severe thunderstorm warnings from Olmsted County. through Fillmore County, Mower County, down to Mitchell, Howard, and Floyd counties until 6:30. This line will continue to move to the east. Number one threat, first and foremost, the most immediate, is damaging wind with this line, causing some damage already to tree branches, to power lines, wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour being sampled by the radar picture. And to note, one of the difficulties that we've always had with getting maybe some of the really good velocity data and getting a pin of where there might be something happening in Iowa is just because of the distance from the radar site, the distance from Des Moines up into Cerro Gordo County. That radar beam is shooting very high into the storm and not as close to the surface as we like to see. So with that said, we do have that tornado warning just outside of our viewing area. That's Butler County is in that. I think it's Bremer and Grundy counties as well with that storm that's south of Cerro Gordo County. It is something that we are going to keep a close eye on right there. Actually, that is just southeast of Mason City, and it could be moving into around Chickasaw County, so affecting maybe New Hampton within about the next, say, 30 to 45 minutes. But we are dealing primarily with this squall line right now across the area where there have been numerous reports of damage already. Wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, hitting the Rochester area right now. That'll continue to move off to the northeast. We're getting a lot of heavy rain, cloud-to-ground lightning, and damaging wind in spots up to around 70 miles per hour. Let's zoom in and let's put a pause on this in Fillmore County right now. Please, Spencer, I'm looking at the western side right now between Spring Valley and Preston. So Forestville State Park, a little bit farther to the south right there. Let's pull velocity right now if we can on this portion of the cell. And I know I'm asking a lot of you, Spencer, but I really appreciate all the help.
I'm holding my own.
This is very helpful, but we're looking at and not seeing right now a couplet that is of great concern. But when we start to see any changes right along the leading edge, where we get some of those pendants on the radar picture, that's when we look at the possibility that something could be starting to spin up a little bit. And these leading edge squall line tornadoes, they're short-lived, but they're also very damaging. So we want to get on top of that as quickly as we can. It doesn't look like that's happening right now, but we are starting to see a little indentation in the velocity picture right now. That is often how some of these things can start. Spencer?
Yeah, we're going to go and go live to Maisie Olson, who's actually outside of our studio right now, where in Rochester it is raining very, very hard at the moment. Maisie, are you able to hear me at all? How's everything looking out there?
Yep, I can hear you, Spencer. And as I was waiting for the live shot, it was bright outside. There was just a little bit of rain. And within 2 minutes, it got extremely dark. It really started coming down. As I was standing out there, my shoe is completely full of water. It did brighten up. Again, it's not as dark. The rain is lighting up, but there's a lot of thunder you can hear. You can hear it's kind of picking up. It seems like the storm has really just kind of reached the Rochester area. We're here at the studio in the southwest region of Rochester. It looks a lot better. There's not a lot of lightning, but the wind has definitely picked up. My hat came off a couple of times, but definitely something to keep an eye on as it keeps on moving. Now, again, it's bright. The rain's still coming down. The wind's not as bad as it was just a couple of minutes ago, but we're going to keep bringing you more from right here in Rochester as that storm keeps moving. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Maisie. Yeah, if we can get the Broadway Plaza Tower cam pulled up real quick here. It was raining much harder on the Broadway Plaza Tower cam about 5 minutes ago or so, but still some pretty impressive rainfall coming down nonetheless in Rochester at this time. I do also want to highlight that there were some tornado sirens that were going off in Wanamingo in Goodhue County associated with a tornado warning a little bit further north of what is typically the ABC6 viewing area. I'm going to go ahead and go back to radar here in just a second. Just give me a second to pull it up here, and we'll see if we can get this pulled up here. And there is radar back again, just continuing to see a significant Boeing segment. There was a bit of a tornado warning that was up closer towards Red Wing, but that has since long been dissipated at this time. It's really just a nice Boeing segment that continues to be very potent all the way down Highway 52 and Highway 63 and stretching into northern Iowa as well. We do still have that tornado warning. That does include Waverly. There's a chance that that could potentially sneak into the southeastern part of Floyd County, closer towards Nashua. And I'll see if I can zoom in on a couple communities in that area, just a little bit further southeast of Charles City. They're going to be watching to see if that potentially gets impacted. But of course, what remains the biggest thing we're watching right now is a lot of very strong wind gusts at this time. Gonna go to another photo in Austin of a tree that is down here, if we can get it pulled up on the scan converter. Just continuing to see a lot of reports of some of those strong wind gusts being reported in these thunderstorms. A lot of photos coming out of Austin from some of these strong wind gusts. Don't have any photos at this time out closer towards Rochester or
ABC6
Preston
Weather Spotter
at
page
this
has
time.
some photos in there of tree damage in Austin.
Sounds like we have some more photos coming in from some of our ABC6 weather spotters. We're going to see if we can get some more of
ABC6
those
weather
photos
spotters. Are you in that group?
pulled up at this time. But for right now, just continue to take a look at Weather First Radar, where we continue to see that Boeing segment, a nice consistent line of thunderstorms stretching all the way down southern Minnesota into northern Iowa, all the way down from Rochester through Charles City. Charles City starting to get a little bit of lighter rain, although I do put that in pretty relative terms in comparison to what's about to happen here in Preston and Cresco within the next few minutes or so. Again, this line continuing to move east-northeast at about 35 to 40 miles an hour or so. I'm continuing to look to see if we have any more reports of any damage coming in at this time, although not really seeing a whole lot showing up at this time outside of some of the pictures that I've highlighted to y'all so far. Randy, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, and just a note to our crew back in the production booth, thank you so much. But we do have some photos that are coming in of tree damage across the area. We've got down tree in Austin. Do we have that photo that we can pop up by chance? We're looking at this squall line that's making its way through the area now from the eastern side of Olmsted County through Fillmore County, and it has been doing this in just about every community that has been going through. So we've had tree branches down, we have had trees knocked down, we've had numerous pictures being sent our way. And just a heads up to the news crew too, it looks like we're getting a lot of photos coming in. I've got one in Waltham that came in on our email. So that's been kind of thank goodness, this has been kind of the mode of this storm so far. And we have someone in Austin who just sent us, said that the storm went through the backyard, winds were at least 80 to 100 miles per hour, knocked off a huge branch in the backyard. So that's what this is going to do. So just a heads up, as this continues now, it's right on 52. So from Chatfield right over to Pilot Mound. So right there in that Trout Run watershed right now, from around Pilot Mound to Troy and over to Preston, right along Highway 52. That leading edge is coming right now. In Harmony, more than likely, you're able to see the leading edge. There's probably a shelf cloud on the front of this line. It's going to be very picturesque, but if you see that very smooth shelf cloud, it's also a good sign that you're about to get some of these severe winds. So this is now approaching Highway 52 on the eastern side of Fillmore County, the heaviest rain right there. That leading edge, that shelf cloud now into central to eastern Fillmore County. And let's zoom a little bit. Let's go down a little farther to the south and show you what's happening in Howard County as well. This should be at least the strongest leading edge of the storm farther down to the south, now getting to Cresco. So this is getting into Cresco now, and there is just a pickup in the radar picture right there. So the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Howard County until 6:30 p.m., and that leading edge is where there is going to be the higher potential of some wind damage. Spencer.
And then I just wanted to add that the rest of Fillmore County has now officially been included in the severe thunderstorm warning as well. So not currently experiencing anything just yet. If you're out closer towards Wayland or Newburgh, Harmony starting to get a little bit of some lighter rain as well. But that severe thunderstorm warning has now been included for the rest of Fillmore County. Also expiring at 6:30 p.m. Once this line of thunderstorms is out of the area, we will start to see a significant decrease in our severe weather threat heading into the rest of tonight. Still paying kind of close attention to this tornado warning down in northern Iowa towards Clarksville and Waverly. Again, not in our area at this time, but I am continuing to watch it to see if we potentially see this get extended into Floyd County, for example, or maybe even sneak into Howard County at some point over the next hour or so. Switching over to velocity data to see if we can get a bit of a solid rotation couplet. There's just a lot of bad data with this area that we're in northern Iowa. Again, it's, as Randy was talking about earlier, when we sample some of the velocity data in particular, really northern Iowa, specifically around Highway 18, is kind of in this weird zone where all the radars, whether it's Des Moines, La Crosse, Wisconsin, or the Twin Cities, are all kind of about the same distance or relatively far away from the radar beam itself. So that does make it a little bit difficult to get this particular area to get some of those wind gusts. But based on the fact that we've had such a significant bowing segment that is developed and this line of thunderstorms has continued to bow out more and more, I would not be surprised if we are continuing to experience some of those very strong wind gusts down towards Charles City, down towards Cresco, Preston, Rochester as well. We're continuing to get more and more photos of damage that are getting submitted. Austin is a very popular destination with some of these damage photos. I'm going to see if I can get some more of them pulled up here.
Yeah, and we've got another one here, Spencer. We've got one from Albert Lea. So we had damage in the Albert Lea area. This is a tree damage. I'm not sure if it's shed, if it is a house, but this was damage that occurred in Albert Lea. I've got a couple of posts that I just put up on my Facebook page as well. We've got some tree damage. It looks like a large tree down in southwest Austin that came from Brent Wild, so that's up there. And in production, you might be able to pull that from my Facebook page as well. So we've got damage in a couple of spots in those locations that we are getting in right now. So again, here's that line. This line stretching now. Let's start at the top and go down to the south and show you where the latest is. From Goodhue County now into Wabasha County, so getting close to Lake Zumbro, over to Plainview and Elgin, stretching now to the very eastern side of Olmsted County. This line is approaching you in Quincy Township, heads up in Quincy Township, over to St. Charles. St. Charles, you more than likely are in the leading edge right now, as that is bringing some damaging wind direction, or damaging wind your direction. A little bit farther to the south, from Chatfield to the east, now this leading edge is just starting to make its way into Winona County, St. Charles, the southwestern corner of Winona County, Preston, Harmony, soon to be in Lanesboro, and then down to Cresco. You're right on the leading edge. And let's zoom out a little bit. So you've got that Howard County to Chickasaw County and Floyd County. Look at the curvature along this line right here. So we've got one, basically a standalone squall line. And even though it does extend a little bit farther, it's actually a lot farther down to the south, we've got this bowing segment. That bowing segment where anywhere along that line there are going to be wind gusts up to around 60, maybe 70 miles per hour, and that south side of the squall line. Now, again, even though you have more activity down there, the south side of that curve of the bow, that south end Charlie, we could have more spin right on that southern corner of this bowing line. So the bowing line right there. Let's take a look at a Facebook photo that we've got in of some damage. This is the kind of stuff that's going to be occurring along the leading edge. This is from Brent Wild in southwest Austin. Brent, thank you so much for sending in that photo. This is going to be kind of a repeated scenario across the area where these winds are gusting especially strong. Now, with that said as well, we're still under a tornado watch until 9 p.m. Along the leading edge of the squall line, there is still the possibility that there could be some tornadoes developing along that line. It looks like we're starting to get in a better situation as far as not looking at those individual supercells developing, but nonetheless, very damaging wind gusts along this squall line, and the possibility that there could be some tornadic development anywhere along the leading edge of that line. Yes, Spencer.
Yes, thank you, Randy. So just going to continue to talk a little bit about that Boeing segment. It just continues to remain as potent as it is and just continue to move further and further east. Now we're starting to see it kind of get into the eastern part of Fillmore County at this time. Preston getting some of the heaviest of that rainfall. Again, it's not going to rain super hard for very long, but it is going to be raining pretty hard when it is the rainfall is taking place, which is going to allow us to have some of that flash flooding potential. I'm going to see if I can get some estimated rainfall rates in some of along this line of thunderstorms. There it is. Most of this line of thunderstorms capable of producing some pretty heavy rainfall and sometimes falling at more than an inch or 2 inches per hour. You can see sampling some of the data in Fillmore County at this time, not too far away from Preston. They're just a little bit off to the southwest where we're seeing some of that at this time. Brandy, did you have something that you...
Yes. So just an FYI there, that we do have that tornado watch that's in effect until 9 p.m. We have severe thunderstorm warnings now still in effect for Olmsted County, Fillmore County, Howard County. That's down to Chickasaw County and also into Floyd County. So from Charles City to Cresco up to Granger, Greenleafton, Spring Valley, Preston, Harmony, soon to be in Lanesboro and St. Charles. You're on the leading edge of this storm right now. It is a massive system, but we are going to take a moment to reset right now. We are going to go to the news, to Robin Wolfram at the desk. Robin, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, thank you so much. Hang on one second. Yeah, you know what? Lots of weather going on. We're monitoring everything back in the newsroom. We're monitoring other weather situations across our area. And we're going to continue this coverage by checking in with some of our reporters who are out in the field monitoring what's going on in each of the communities in which you live. So thank you for staying with us. We are continuing that coverage of severe weather. And our Alexander Schmidt is live in Hancock County with the latest on the flooding conditions right now that are there.
That's right. I'm in Britt, where the rain has tapered off. It's quiet here now. The rain subsided at about 5:30, but like the whole area, we remain under a flood watch. That means that potential rain could create conditions for some hazardous flooding conditions. Now, you might be seeing pictures now. This is just one of handful of washed out gravel roads that I've been taking a video of today. This is by far the biggest flooding that we've seen today driving around the county. Like I said, the entire viewing area is under a flood watch until 9 p.m. tonight, meaning the forecasted storms carry a heightened risk for flash flooding in low-lying areas near the rivers and creeks, but also from the rapid flooding of roadways, ditches, and culverts. Now, do not drive through a roadway that's being blocked by water. And like the National Weather Service recommends, turn around, don't drown, and find an alternate routes, because just 2 feet of water can sweep a full-size SUV away. Now, I'm currently in Britt, and that's in the floodplain of the East Fork Des Moines River at Algona. That's expected to peak at just under its minor flood stage at 16.1 feet in the next 48 hours. That's on Wednesday. The Winnebago River at Mason City is predicted to enter its beginning flood stage soon, and the National Weather Service expects it to be cresting at 8 feet on Wednesday. This is all, of course, dependent upon how much rainfall we see in total. We'll, of course, keep you updated with all of the major roadway closures as we get them from County Emergency Management on this station and at KALTV.com. Live in Britt, Alexander Schmidt, ABC 6 News.
Thank you, Alexander. And of course, North Iowa, specifically Mason City, having had floods in the past, know how to prepare for these things. So hopefully they won't have to this time around. We're going to be joining now Rachel Mantos. She is at Rose Creek, which is just east of Austin. What do you have for us tonight, Rachel?
Yeah, Robin, it's still raining a little bit here slightly, but most of the storm seems to have passed for now. But you can see just around here, there's a lot of damage. This pole, it appears to have snapped in half, and the top half is caught up in these power lines over here. Further over there, there's a tree down and another tree over there by the house. Just a few moments ago, we saw some firefighters over there assisting the homeowners with that. Over on the other side, there's more tree branches that have come down around these houses here. Further down the road over there on Mower County Road number 4, there's a tree that's down that's completely blocking the street. There's a whole bunch of firefighters and emergency responders dealing with that situation now. That is pretty much the situation here. We're going to keep monitoring the situation and the damage. Back to you, Robin.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We're going to switch gears now, and we're going to check in with Hannah Holland. What can you tell us about what things look like in Austin? What are the current conditions, Hannah?
Robin, the wind and the rain have definitely calmed down, but we're still seeing some thunder and lightning. And the wind and the rain also left some lasting storm damage, including this tree that has fallen down and has blocked the road right here. There's other areas of town that have down trees and flooding that we are keeping up with. Back to from Austin, Hannah Holland, ABC 6 News.
Thank you so much. We're going to check in with
All right, Hannah, it's all right. Thank you so much. We appreciate the reporting out in the field. Taking a look at the radar picture right now, just to update you on the location of the leading edge. We did just get a report that a large tree knocked down in St. Charles. So that just happened as this line is progressing out of Olmsted County into Winona County. There is still strong wind potential from St. Charles back to about Dover as this line continues to move to the east. And we're also getting a little development on the leading edge of this. So if you're watching us in Lewiston right now, while you do have some intense rain coming your direction right now, you might get a little bit of a 1-2 punch in Lewiston as you've got just this little development ahead of it, but the main line is still back between St. Charles and Lewiston, back to about Utica, and this is pushing to the east. We have the potential of some damaging winds. That's 60 to 70 miles per hour. As we have seen, we've got all the photos too. Trees knocked down, some power lines knocked down out of the deal there as this line is moving now into western Winona County. And my friend Mark, I know you're watching on your antenna there in Lewiston. Just a heads up that you're going to get this line here within about the next 10 to 15 minutes. And we have extending now farther down to the south in Fillmore County. This line is making its way toward Rushford. It is in Wayland right now. So between Preston to Lanesboro up to Wayland, right along the Root River, very heavy rain and the potential of some damaging winds. This is coming your way in Rushford. So thank you to all of you who are watching us in Rushford. This line moving in is going to be affecting you soon. You're hearing thunder right now. The wind is just starting to pick up. But right now, that section of the storm that's going to have some stronger wind is moving your direction. Amherst also being affected. So this line is now moving into the big woods on the eastern side of Fillmore County. That is where the winds are going to be especially strong. Now, a little bit farther down to the south, we'll get to that in just a moment, show you what's going on. Now, Harmony, the leading edge has passed you by, but you also have still the potential of some strong winds, and that's also back to around Forestville State Park. Now, the rain is getting a little bit lighter for those of you back into the western side of Fillmore County, but it's still strong to severe right there. Spencer, let's go a little bit farther south in the radar picture right now from Fillmore County into northeast Iowa. And now this has made its way into Winneshiek County, the leading edge, and then some additional development ahead of it from Decorah down farther down to the south to around Fort Atkinson. You have from Alta Vista to New Hampton there in Chickasaw County and in Howard County. Still an intense storm that's making its way through Howard County, although the leading edge and the potential of maybe the gustiest winds has passed you by. Now, farther to the west, let's talk about where it's a little bit quieter. Spencer, let's zoom out a little bit farther back to the west and show you what's happening in the areas that were hit earlier. From Freeborn County, it looks like, at least on the radar picture, we're starting to get a little bit of clearing right there near Albert Lea. That back edge of the storm is not too far from Northwood there on Highway 65. Austin up 218 to Owatonna. Heavy rain at times, but the severe potential has faded. There are no more warnings in effect for you in Mower County or in Dodge County or in Steele County. But we still do have that severe thunderstorm warning, I believe. Do we still have it in effect for Olmsted County?
Yes, it's still in effect for Olmsted County, probably going to be allowed to expire on time at 6:30. I do want to point out a few things real quick that have happened within the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. So even though that the rain has significantly lightened up in Albert Lea, I did see a cloud to ground lightning strike within the last few minutes or so. Randy, sorry, you were going to say something?
Yeah, we've got a tornado warning that's been issued in Winona County. So for those of you who are picking us up in the Altura area, that little pendant I was talking about before, remember not too long ago, we were talking about these areas where there gets to be some odd development on the leading edge of this. Now, I know there are not as many of you are able to watch us in Winona County, but we do have a tornado warning and just up to the north of Lewiston. So this is about the south branch of the Whitewater. The valley is right there, west of Altura, but getting close to Altura fairly soon. So just a heads up there that in the Altura to Utica area, that triangle from Altura to Utica to Lewiston, right there, we do have a tornado warning that's in Winona County, and that's in effect until 6:30. So we have seen right on the leading edge a quick spin up right there, and you saw in the velocity picture that there is a little bit of a couplet there. So that's why that has been issued. And as far as that tornado warning goes, I'm going to pull up a little bit of the information on it there. This one was observed. So this is radar confirmed tornado. It's going to be near Rolling Stone and Altura around 6:10 p.m. and Winona around 6:20 p.m. if it holds together. So Tornado is on the ground there, potentially north of Lewiston, not too far from Altura, in between Altura and Lewiston, and making its way off to the north and east. That's going to be affecting Rolling Stone, near Fountain City, maybe Winona. We'll see if it makes its way that far, but this is one of those things now on the leading edge of the storm. Even though it's passed us by in Rochester and Austin and Albert Lea, we do have this tornado warning in effect right now for Winona County. So just a heads up, north of Lewiston, that is where it has been issued. And I'm going to pull up, let's take a little look at the velocity picture there. We are getting pretty strong indications southeast of Altura, and this is moving toward, it's a little bit harder to pick out here. There's Elba, there's Mount Altura right there. So right about there on the leading edge, and that's making its way off to the northeast. So this is a very small one. I am looking at it on with my radar over here as well. Southeast of Altura is where there is the greater threat that there is a tornado on the ground right now, that leading edge tornado right along the squall line. It is going to continue to track with the squall line. So there's some interaction of the winds happening right now along the leading edge in Winona County that's causing that to happen. And following its direction, it's heading toward Rolling Stone. We might not have many people watching us in Rolling Stone, but if you have friends in Rolling Stone, send them a text or give them a call. Let them know that tornado is heading toward Rolling Stone right now. The tornado warning is in effect until 6:30. The very latest on the radar picture. Let's maybe go toward the leading edge of this as well. This is going to be north of Stockton. Technically speaking, Stockton, you are not in that, but right along Highway 248 in Rolling Stone over to about Minnesota City, right there, and then up to around Winona, Fountain City. That is where we have the potential of that tornado. Or actually, it's going to be northwest of Winona. So thank goodness Winona, the community of Winona and Goodview, you are not inside the polygon for that, but we are now seeing increased signature on the velocity picture just southwest of Rolling Stone, that this is heading your direction. So we're picking that up in the velocity, that there has been a real strong uptick in the rotation. More than likely, there is a tornado with that currently. It is getting very close to Rolling Stone right now. So everybody who is in Rolling Stone needs to be taking shelter as this is coming your direction. There's a lot of open space in between Altura and Rolling Stone, but this is headed your direction. And that is where the tornado warning is in effect right now until 6:30. You see Norton on the map right there. Rolling Stone, Altura is right there. It's looking like that tornado is still east of Altura, should be right about there, and is moving toward Rolling Stone. That's where we're picking up the data, and that is rather pronounced right now on velocity, that's where this is going. So that's right about there. You see that little bit of blue right there? So the blue and then the lighter green shades currently on the velocity picture, that's where the winds are twisting right within the leading edge of the squall line, and that is making its way toward Rolling Stone. So we are picking up some shear there, and that's really strong actually. So we're looking at the potential of winds up to maybe around 100 miles per hour in this spot. So we've seen that accentuated a little bit. Zoom in tight on that. Let's go a little bit tighter and show you what's going on. When we talk about these couplets on the velocity pictures, when we get these conflicting colors, the purpose of what we're looking at here is we're able to see with the radar everything that's in the atmosphere and what direction it's moving, whether that's raindrops, whether it's just the airflow, whether that's hailstones. And when we get the twist right there, we are getting a signature of a tornado that is making its way toward Rolling Stone. So looking at the very latest, it is now just west of Rolling Stone. We got another scan on the radar picture there, and there is still a pretty strong couplet. It is located just to the west of Rolling Stone. I'm going to pull up a little distance here indicator, and it is 1 mile west of Rolling Stone, just down to the southwest of Rolling Stone, and that is making its way to the northeast. There it was. We just got the latest scan here too. Zooming in on this right there, that is where there's a possible tornado. It's making its way toward Rolling Stone in Winona County. So heads up right now in Rolling Stone, you need to be taking shelter right now. If you happen to be watching us in Rolling Stone, take shelter, get into your basement, stay away from windows, put as many walls between you and the exterior of your house as you can. You want to be taking shelter from this right now as this storm, this tornado right there is making its way toward Rolling Stone. That at the last scan was only 1 mile away from Rolling Stone. So by now it's probably only about a half mile away from Rolling Stone and getting closer. So we're watching that very carefully as it continues to move eastward. Now, if we can, thank you for your patience as we repeat ourselves and we learn this information as we're going and get a good beat on this. But this is the greatest area of concern right there, close to Rolling Stone. Let's zoom out and take a look at the radar picture as a whole. So a big picture view of what's going on here. We are still going to be seeing heavy rain across the area. The severe threat has faded significantly in Rochester and Austin and Osage. Still cloud to ground lightning, still some gusty winds in spots, still some areas of heavy rain and persistent rain. And the longer fuse problems that we're going to be facing with this particular line of storms is the continued rain and the fact that right along the leading edge, we have had inches of rain already. So we're going to continue to see over the next 48 hours or even longer, some river sheds are going to continue to rise. So we have had a lot of rain here in a short amount of time. And this is the squall line producing that. This is the warning we have, by the way, right now in Rolling Stone, you need to be taking shelter. This tornado is making its way right into Rolling Stone and hopefully just missing town. But the way all we're able to see here is the radar view. And currently we have seen that pass. It looks like just on the north side of Rolling Stone as that rotation continues to move off to the northeast. Now, Spencer, I know you had something too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up correlation coefficient real fast. And basically what we're looking for is we're looking for an isolated blue dot. And basically what that is that it is the debris signature of the tornado. It's a little bit tough to make out. If it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be this little spot right here, although it's more of a yellowish green on radar at this time. Randy, you ready to add something?
Yeah, I've got another scan that's just updated here, and that correlation coefficient, I was looking at that as well, and now we're seeing that just to the north of Rolling Stone on the latest scan as that continues to move out. So there we are. If you could bring me back right there. Now there's Rolling Stone, and this is the area that we're looking at right there. There could be some other possibilities around the area. These are very fluid events. There's a lot going on the leading edge, but at least on my view here, that signature where there could be some debris. It could be the tornado just on the ground, maybe some tree branches flying along with it. We are seeing that now just off to the north of Rolling Stone by just a couple of miles. This whole system is picking up steam and moving fairly quickly. So that is now moving toward Highway 61. That is going to be on the Great River Road here in just a little bit, probably within about the next 5 minutes, and it's going to continue toward the Mississippi River. So the good news is this is all going to be over in a short amount of time from this particular portion of the storm. If we can go back to reflectivity and show you what's going on with the leading edge, we'll also get a good gauge as to where this line is. And right now it looks like that might just be starting to get to the, and maybe even beyond the Mississippi River right now. There is Fountain City on the Wisconsin side of the river, and this storm, the leading edge, is moving on out. I think just a heads up to the production team, to everyone here, we're probably going to be backing out of live coverage in just short order. I guess we're in our normal weather time right now, so I can keep talking a little bit longer, but we're going to jump back to you in a bit. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until Olmsted County. That's going to be let to expire in 12 minutes, I believe.
And then I just wanted to add that they just issued a tornado warning that now officially includes Winona. It's a much bigger polygon of it. Also, Buffalo City included in this particular tornado warning as well. So this expiring at 6:30, although let's see if this particular warning extends a little bit further. At this time, it looks like
it's not into Wabasha yet, but the thing is, when they do these larger scope tornado warnings, there's the potential anywhere along this line that there could be some spin ups within that line. So they'll do a larger polygon to cover more space because it can be very difficult to detect with sufficient lead time. So they'll put it in a broader area where along this whole line, there is the possibility of tornadoes developing. And we're seeing that now getting into the Winona area. Winona is under a tornado warning. If you're watching us on our live stream right now at kaltv.com or through Facebook, it is making its way toward you. If nothing else, you are going to have some very gusty winds moving into Winona in short order. It's always debatable. People want to talk about it, but it is not protection that you are in a river valley. That will not protect you from tornadoes. We've had numerous tornadoes that have actually touched down on the Mississippi River, and we're seeing that right now. We've got some signatures right there along near Fountain City where there could be a spin up right there, and along this entire leading edge. And even this looks a little more interesting too, getting a little farther to the north. So along this whole line, now approaching the Mississippi River, we're seeing spin ups right along the leading edge of that squall line. So the threat is there for tornadoes right along the leading edge of the squall line. That is until 9 p.m. All right, let's go back to reflectivity and show you what's going on with the storm. We're still going to stay with this for a little bit longer. Rushford right now, Rushford up to Hart in Winona County. Rushford, you're underneath a very strong portion of the storm. There you are in Rushford. You are not in this tornado warning, but the tornado warning starts right there. You could also see some spin ups over into Houston County, but this storm is very intense right now from Rushford and a little bit farther down to the south. So once you get down to around Yucatan, back to the South Fork of the Root River, the communities of Choice, you are underneath that storm right now. That's east of Lanesboro. That is northeast of Amherst. This is on the east side of Fillmore County, and this is still very strong there around northeastern corner of Fillmore County. So in Rushford, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, and the expiration of that time is that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for the next 10 minutes. The threat is going to be passing in about 10 minutes in Fillmore County, but that threat is extending now into Houston County. Now, I know we don't have many people watching in Houston County, but there is still some signatures showing up on the front edge of the squall line that are a little concerning. That's near Yucatan. That's to the north of Blackhammer. That is to the northwest of Caledonia, but it's going to be approaching Beaver Creek Valley State Park fairly soon in southwestern and western Houston County. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Do we have I don't know if we have any damage footage to go to right now, or did we have a photo? Spencer, you've got a few things going on over there.
I do have a quick photo real fast. So we've obviously shared a lot of photos out of Austin, out of Mower County. We're talking about Rose Creek. This is actually in southwest Rochester where this particular photo was submitted. We have a tree that fell on top of somebody's house out in southwestern Rochester out in Olmsted County. So we're starting to see some more of those reports as we've continued to experience some of these very strong wind gusts. Now in Olmsted County, starting to get some of those damage reports a little bit as well. And it sounds like we have another photo from Austin coming in now at this time. Looks like we have some more tree damage in Austin once again. So just continuing to see a lot of photos coming in from Austin and from Mower County in general, where we're experiencing the majority of some of these damage reports coming in. Although once this line of thunderstorms moves a little bit further out, would not be too surprised if we start to see some more reports coming in Fillmore County, and also some more reports in Olmsted County as well as this evening goes along. It looks like we have some looks like a little bit of some flooded roadways, plenty of rain on some of those roadways as well. So
tree branch down there,
and a tree branch down there too. Another tree branch down. Where's this photo at? Is this in Austin as well? This is in Albert Lea where this particular photo was taken of the tree that was knocked down there. So just all across southeast Minnesota and northeastern Iowa getting reports of some damage. Most of the reports that we've gotten in have mostly stayed north of the Minnesota-Iowa border, but still, of course, have had those strong radar estimated winds and also had the heavy rainfall in northern Iowa as well as southern Minnesota this evening. So likely some damage in northern Iowa as well. We did have some reports in Mason City. Randy, did you have something that you wanted to add?
On the eastern side of Fillmore County right now, our friends in Rushford, they're still being hit hard by this storm. This is also down into Winnebago County, but the eastern side of Fillmore County into the western side of Houston County, pretty intense portion of the storm at this time. And also Harmony, that's all the way down Highway 52, and then you get over to around Maple and Spring Grove and down Highway 52 to Decorah. These are roads you more than likely do not want to be on right now. Very heavy rain and some very strong winds also. Do we have an update?
Did want to mention that in Winona County real fast, where the tornado warning was just taking place, communities such as Winona, Goodview, Altura, Utica, and Rolling Stone, power is out in all of those communities that I just listed, likely due to some of the strong wind gusts as well as that tornado warning that came through there. It looked like there was a potential touchdown, but of course we are still waiting confirmation from the National Weather Service. We'll likely get some confirmation later tonight or tomorrow as they examine some data at the surface there.
Yeah, thank you for that. We've heard from the emergency manager in Winona County, as you just mentioned, that the power is out in Winona, Goodview, Altura, Utica, Rolling Stone, and from the meteorologists in charge at the National Weather Service in La Crosse, the most intense storms they're really producing from Decorah through Winona, southwest of Eau Claire, the intense wind gusts with embedded possible tornadoes right along this line. So that's that line we're seeing right now from Winona down to the western side of Houston County into Winneshiek County, and then also still some intensity to the storm in Howard County. If we just zoom back out to the entire viewing area, let's take a big picture. One thing I do want to mention also, we can still hear the rain hitting our studios here in Rochester, back to Dodge Center, some heavy rain, and with all of this, all the way back to I-35, down to Mason City and in Charles City, where the significance of the storms have faded a little bit, there is still lightning everywhere across Mower County. We're picking up lightning on the network now across northeast Iowa, all the way up through Mower County. There's still lightning strikes right now between Clarks Grove and Bancroft. That's in Albert Lea, or in Freeborn County near Albert Lea. We have lightning strikes still occurring on the backside of this. This storm is so potent now that we still have cloud to ground lightning across this whole area, and that will continue to be the case probably for about the next hour, just because there's so much happening in the atmosphere. The development upwards is tens of thousands of feet with these updrafts right along the leading edge of this line that's now from Winona to about Decorah, and still affecting us back on the western side of that. Heavy rain, frequent cloud to ground lightning, and we are also going to have some very gusty winds. All right, Spencer, did you have an update? It looks like you got a photo there.
Yeah, I have another photo from Rochester. Not sure exactly where in Rochester this photo was taken, but our very own Maisie Olson actually taking this particular photo of another tree branch that was down. And also be mindful that there are some areas in Rochester, specifically not too far away from downtown, where the roads do kind of curve a little bit. So with all the rain, the heavy rainfall that just came through Rochester, as well as some of the lighter but still potent rainfall that is kind of wrapping around back towards Rochester over the past 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so. I'm specifically talking about some of these yellow and orange returns that are moving through Rochester. Now, that's going to add some potential for a little bit of some ponding or even just some small areas of flooding to occur within Rochester due to that line of showers and due to this line of thunderstorms that has been passing through over the past couple hours and has delivered some very heavy wind gusts to our area. Randy, did you have something?
Yeah. In just a moment, we're going to go to Hannah Holland. She's in Austin, but I did want to mention right now that we no longer have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect in Olmsted County. We no longer have that effect in Mower County. We are not saying we are in the clear from severe weather, but right now we do not have a severe thunderstorm warning for Olmsted County, Dodge County, Steele County, Freeborn County, Mower County, and now the western side of Fillmore County. This is pretty much the western half, right there where we have that line from Olmsted and Winona County stretching down. We do still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Howard County. So heads up in Howard and Chickasaw counties, these warnings are still in effect for you. Cresco to Alta Vista. The storm is a little bit weaker than it was not too long ago, but you are still underneath a very potent portion of the storm. Some wind gusts that are very strong are still possible, wind gusts up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. And then looking back at Mower County, Olmsted County, Dodge County, Cerro Gordo County, into Mitchell County and Floyd County, you are no longer in a severe thunderstorm warning. That is also, of course, in effect for Winnebago counties, Hancock counties, and Worth County, Cerro Gordo. I think I've said that a couple times now. You are not in a warning at this time. Spencer, I'm going to go to Hannah, then we'll go back to you.
That's fine.
All right, so I understand, Hannah Holland, you are in Austin right now. Can you tell us what you're seeing in Austin? Is it lightened up a little bit for you? Oh my goodness. Hi, Hannah. Where are you?
Yeah, Randy. I'm standing right now. Hi, Randy. I'm standing right now in Austin in front of a house that a tree has fallen down. And it looks like there appears to be some damage to the houses and the gates and the structures that are behind the house. We've also seen trees down on the road, blocking the roads, blocking sidewalks. And we've seen quite a bit of flooding damage in areas near the Cedar River, where the water is coming up and just pouring over into parks and trails and just other areas. A lot of the damage around here seems to be with the trees and branches coming down, but that's mostly what we've been seeing so far. We'll keep you updated. Live from Austin, Hannah Holland, ABC 6 News.
Hannah, thank you so much for that update. We really appreciate you being out there. Great job. Thank you so much for the update from Austin right now. This is a scene that we have had across the area. Numerous trees damaged across the area. Spencer.
And speaking of tree damage, I have another photo here. This is coming from Osage. Brian sending in this particular photo. Look at the size of this particular tree, just totally uprooted thanks to a lot of those very strong wind gusts within this line of thunderstorms, just continuing with that theme of those very strong wind gusts along this entire Boeing segment. So Brian, thank you for sending this particular photo in. And if you're out closer towards Osage, that rainfall has gotten considerably lighter, really outside of Howard County and very far eastern Fillmore County towards Rushford, Peterson area. The rainfall has gotten considerably lighter at this time as we'll go ahead and transition back towards radar now. But still, even though we do have much lighter rainfall out towards Austin, you probably may have noticed a couple flashes during Hannah's live shot there. Still plenty of lightning taking place within these thunderstorms, even though the heaviest of this rainfall has long wrapped up out closer towards that I-35 corridor, and there is still a little bit of that rainfall taking place up towards the Highway 14 corridor, stretching all the way from northeastern Owatonna into Rochester as well at this time. Looks like that severe thunderstorm warning has been extended a little bit till 7:30 now, including Fillmore County. It also includes Houston County. Wouldn't be completely surprised if Fillmore County was eventually trimmed out of this warning once some of this heavier rain towards Rushford, Peterson, as well as closer towards Mabel is out of the area completely. Might see Fillmore County eventually get trimmed out of this, but still, of course, that heavy rainfall up towards Rushford, Peterson, down towards Mabel, and of course in Howard County also experiencing a little bit of some of that heavier rainfall and those very gusty winds at this time once again. So even though we are starting to see the strongest parts of this thunderstorm moving out of our area, we do still have a little bit of rainfall taking place. We do still have some of the strong wind gusts showing up here and there. But of course, the biggest thing right now outside of that front line of thunderstorms is some of that cloud to ground lightning, that we've been experiencing quite a bit over the past hour or so. I've seen numerous strikes of it in Freeborn County on our Mayo Clinic Health System tower cam in Albert Lea. Not currently seeing a whole lot at this time, but it has shown up here and there. By the way, that photo that Maisie submitted to us was just north of the Civic Center. So just north of Civic Center is where that particular photo from Maisie came in. And then Randy, you had something that you wanted to add?
Yeah. I just wanted to expound. We've got a big view of the Weather First radar picture right now. By the way, this is what I'm about to say is not in all clear for the viewing area. Just a heads up there. But the good news right now, we have seen the peak of the severe weather make its way out of our viewing area. So now we are seeing the peak right now into Winneshiek County, into Houston County, the far eastern side of Winona County. It is still intense in Winona, and I know we have some of you streaming in Winona. It looks like the most intense portion of the storm is on the northeastern side of the Cheddar Curtain, as I'd like to say. So in the parts of southwestern Wisconsin, that squall line has pushed off to the north into Wisconsin. So we are not seeing this over in southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa, but the peak has passed. We are left with the lingering moderate to occasionally heavy rain in Olmsted County, Dodge County, Fillmore County, Mower County, Freeborn County, Howard County. It is weakening. It is still strong there, especially close to Cresco, but the most dangerous portion of the storm now is out of Howard County, and it is in Winneshiek County. It looks like we even have a new tornado warning that has been issued down into Winneshiek County that does include Decorah. As far as I can, nope, that's not a flash flood warning. I saw red there for a second. So flash flood warning that's in effect there in Winneshiek County. That's one of the now, as I mentioned before, the long fuse problems that we're facing with this is the rapid rise in water in some of these locations that have seen so much rain. And that does now include the Decorah area and then even stretching into parts of northeast Winneshiek County, still very intense there. But the rain continues for our entire viewing area, but the severe threat currently has passed. And I understand now that we are going to go to Rachel Mantas, who is located in Rose Creek. Rachel, how are you doing out there?
Yeah, Randy, the rain has picked up just a little bit since the last time you guys saw me. Over here, firefighters are closing off County Road 4. That's because of some downed power lines over here. It's a very dangerous situation. They don't want anybody driving or walking near the area. Firefighters are saying that everybody should still remain to shelter in their homes at the moment. It's still pretty dangerous outside. They have confirmed there are some power outages across town. It doesn't seem as though the entire town has lost power. I can see a couple of houses down that way still have some lights on, but there are confirmed outages in some areas. Over this way, there are some more downed trees that have gone on this bike path here. If you can see that, they're more all the way down the path. You don't have a good vantage point from here because we had to move out of the way from those down power lines. As I said, that's a very dangerous situation that the firefighters are working to take care of right now. As of now, they're not sure exactly how long that's going to take, and that's why they're asking everyone to stay sheltered inside. So live in Rose Creek, Rachel Mantos, ABC 6 News.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much for that update there. Unfortunately, that's one of the lingering problems that we are going to be facing in some locations across the area, from down tree branches, from down trees, to down power lines, or power lines that have been knocked down by tree branches in many of these locations. Even as the storm has passed, it's going to take a little while for that mess to be cleaned up. We still have the heavy rain, frequent cloud to ground lightning from Rochester and Highway 14. Some of the heaviest rain is to the north of Highway 14, but also getting into northeast Iowa, there in Howard County and over to Winneshiek County. The greatest threats are still over on the eastern side of Fillmore County, although it has weakened considerably for those of you around Rushford, and the heaviest rain has moved into the eastern side of Houston County. So not sure how much longer we want to stay on with this one right now, but we have seen the severe weather threat primarily pass out of the viewing area. One thing, Spencer, if you could get it queued up, let's take a look at the watches, because from what I understand, the tornado watch has been cleared from all of Minneapolis's National Weather Service office, all of their counties.
Working on pulling it up right now.
We have seen the tornado watch cleared, so that was in effect until 9 p.m. The tornado watch is no longer in effect in our counties right along I-35. So the tornado watch has been canceled early from Steele County through Freeborn County into Worth County and Cerro Gordo County, and of course Winnebago County and Hancock County. So the good news is right now, because the squall line has passed us by and we've seen the bulk of the activity move off to the east, that we are no longer in that tornado watch from Owatonna through Albert Lea to Mason City to Manly to Northwood, and we are still in it in southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa. These are the counties that the National Weather Service in La Crosse handles. And while we have seen the severe weather threat pass a little bit farther to the east, frankly, they still have their hands full. They're still handling a whole lot of warnings on the leading edge of the squall line. But we have seen the tornado threat dwindling very quickly as the leading edge of that line is now moving into Wisconsin, out of Houston County, now out of Fillmore County, still in Winneshiek County, and along with all that, there is still some very heavy rain coming down. So those of you in the production booth, if you could start to cue me a little bit with what you want to do with our plans going forward, let me know. It sounds like we've got some more information. Let's just take a look. Let's take a look at the damage that we have across the area. So we have seen numerous trees damaging property, whether it's decks, whether it's a gazebo, whether it's homes, their roofs. Tree branches have been knocked down, trees knocked down. Thank you to everyone who has sent us photos. Also very sorry to see that you have had this damage occur tonight. We have seen so much just from the damaging wind threat, which we have been talking about now for a long time, as that being the number one with this. And thankfully, we have not, look at that, the trampoline right in the middle of the street. Trampolines can be always quite a problem, working like a sail whenever that strong wind comes through. Tree branches down in Austin and Albert Lea. We have them down in Rochester. We have had numerous reports, photos sent in. Look at that one, completely uprooted. You can see that just to the side of the shed. We've got video here as the damaging winds, as the strong line, or as the squall line was coming through the area. And look at that one, just snapped
That's a big one too.
off at the base. So wow. Looked like we got just trees blocking streets. We've also seen power line issues as well. Spencer.
And just a reminder, as the severe threat is starting to kind of dwindle down a little bit, if you have any damage in your yards and you want to make sure to submit photos to us, as a reminder, make sure to stay away from down power lines, because of course there's a chance that they could still be live and you could potentially electrocute yourself if you get too close to them. Also, make sure not to go in any flooded roadways. There could be, you never know what's going to be inside of those flooded roadways. Also, if there's a down power line down the street that's also in some of those flooded roadways, you can find yourself getting electrocuted as well. If you happen to be driving and you come across any flooded roadways, make sure to turn around and plan an alternate route to get to the destination that you're planning to get to, now that we're starting to see that severe threat dwindle down a little bit, and it's becoming much safer to get out and do any of those get out and do any of those errands that maybe you need to run that you did not get a chance to run earlier this afternoon and evening. Still a little bit of that heavy rainfall taking place out closer towards Cresco and Mabel area, but the peak of this severe threat has moved much further east now, much closer towards the Mississippi River, actually crossing the Mississippi River between Winona and La Crosse, while still impacting the very far southeastern corner there of Minnesota in Houston County and down towards Decorah. One more thing I want to look at as well is a lot of the heavy rainfall that we've experienced over the past 24 hours. Look at some of these radar estimates that we have had. Some of these shades of yellow here, this is indicative of potentially upwards of 4 to 6 inches. And I can actually verify that there was a rainfall report in Algona of just over 5 inches of rainfall between the rain that we had with all the rain that we experienced last night into this morning, and also some pretty heavy rainfall showing up really throughout most of northern Iowa, where we're still experiencing some improved, but still there are some drought conditions in northern Iowa. But even despite the drought conditions that we're experiencing, you're still going to want to make sure to plan an alternate route if you run into some flooding, because we could absolutely still see some flooding here and there the rest of this evening. Randy.
Absolutely. Along that note, I just want to editorialize just a little bit more. So many of you are familiar with where you live. You're familiar with the roads that you take from town to town. You're familiar with where you go fishing. You're familiar with all these roads. In those spots where you see what looks like it could just be a little bit of water over a gravel road, technically, you are not going to be able to know what's happening underneath that water. Very often, some of these roads have been washed out. I have seen it so many times. We look back at the floods of 2007, the deaths that occurred where people who were in their vehicles were very unfortunately, the roads had been washed out and they could not see it. So just a heads up, it is going to continue to rain tonight. There will be some of those remote areas where it could be a gravel road, or it could even be a washed out asphalt road. If water is covering the roadway, just because it looks like it's a couple inches, you don't know what's underneath that water. You need to take another route, turn around, find another way to go. And if you can't go there because there's water over the roadway, you just don't go. There's almost always another route to take. So just a heads up there. I understand that my friend Maisie Olson is out in the field. Maisie, all right, not quite yet. Maisie's going to be there in just a little bit. Looking at some of these rainfall totals, by the way, they're just radar estimates. Now, we might see some spots where there's going to be 6 inches, 7 inches of rain. Some of these spots where we're going to get some measurements. As soon as we are able to, we're going to have those featured tonight at 10 p.m. It does take some time often to gather those rainfall totals. All right, Maisie's ready. Maisie Olson, what are you seeing out there?
It's at the corner of, we're southwest Rochester.
Yeah. Hi, Randy. I'm in Southwest Rochester right now. If you take I'm going to stop talking for 1 second. I don't know if you can hear it, but the thunder is extremely loud. The rain's really starting to come down here now. Now here in Southwest Rochester, I'm in a residential neighborhood. Let's take a look behind me. This tree came down and smacked this house here. You can see it kind of split right here from the middle. It's laying on top of the house. We're told that the neighbor's actually in Las Vegas right now. So not something that anybody wants to come home and see. So definitely be paying attention. The neighbors heard a very loud crash, and that was when they came outside and saw that the tree had actually fallen on top of the house. Now, thankfully, everyone's okay in there. But let's pan down right here too. You can see this tree also split. A lot of trees coming down just driving through the neighborhood. There is a ton of damage, a lot of trees in the road, some partially covering houses, one on top of a fence. This is the most intense one that we've seen, but I did see a tree that was probably twice as large as this one, and that one also split down the middle and fell down right onto the road there. So if you are driving, make sure that you're really keeping your eyes peeled, especially when any kind of flooding does happen, because you want to make sure that you're not driving over those branches in the road. I know Randy was talking about that earlier. And yeah, definitely checking in on your neighbors, checking to make sure, you know, if there aren't people home right now, seeing if somebody can go check on their house to make sure everything looks okay. Now it's gotten a little bit lighter. It's not as dark as it was about 20 minutes ago. The rain's pretty moderate right now. It's not really windy. I don't feel anything. My hat's staying on, so I can tell it's going to be okay for right now. But yeah, so I'll just step back one more time and let everyone get a good look at the damage right there. Definitely still thundering. There's not a lot of lightning though. Here again, I'm in Southwest Rochester. But there's definitely going to be a lot to clean up for people in Rochester and a lot of other cities that maybe got hit even harder than we did here in the Med City. I'll send it back to you guys live in Rochester. Maisie Olson, ABC 6 News.
All right, Maisie, thank you so much. Back in your car soon, too. There's a fair amount of lightning still around. As you mentioned, we're hearing the thunder. We can hear that here in our studios, and I'm looking at the radar. I'm looking at the lightning network across the area right now. We still have dozens of lightning strikes in Dodge County, in Olmsted County, in Mower County, Fillmore County, Winona County, Goody County. We right now are not seeing much in Steele County. There's one lightning strike that's on the northeast side of the county. Freeborn County right now, we've got a couple lightning strikes that are closer to Lansing in Mower County, but overall, conditions have improved greatly in Freeborn County, and I am not seeing any lightning strikes right now from Mason City up to Northwood or over to Osage or Charles City. And right now, I also understand that we have numerous power outages just in Rochester. And many communities across the area, you are facing the same thing. So just give it some time. Try and make sure you're being very careful if you are out and about to avoid any fallen power lines. Let the crews get out there and do their work to take care, to clean up this mess after we've seen so many trees knocked down, so many power lines knocked down. They'll be able to get that power back and going as soon as possible. All right. This is not an all clear, but we are going to take a break right now, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. All right, I promise this is a quick weather update here before we move on into just a little bit of news to wrap up the 6 p.m. hour. We still have moderate to heavy rain around southeast Minnesota. It is weakening considerably now in north central to northeast Iowa. From Charles City over to Mason City, the intense storms are still from Winneshiek County into Allamakee County, Houston County, the very far east side of Winona County, and now the majority of the warnings, especially tornado related, are now into Wisconsin. But we still have some heavy rain falling. We still have damage that's been done across the area from the strong winds that came through. Give it some time. The crews are going to be able to restore power in all those places where the power has gone out. But just a heads up, if you are out and about right now, there is still a lightning threat. But at this time, we do not have any warnings in effect for our entire viewing area. There is still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the eastern side of Fillmore County. The bulk of the storm has moved off into Houston County. Part of Houston County still looking at some intense storms over there, and now new flash flood warnings in effect there for Winneshiek County. That's the latest that we have for you. Not an all clear per se, but conditions are much better, but just some rain and lightning that lingers in southeast Minnesota and parts of northeast Iowa. Robin?
All right. Thank you so much, Randy. Really do appreciate both you, Spencer, and everyone in the field in this dangerous weather so we can bring you the latest conditions to keep you safe at home. And of course, Randy, Spencer, and the entire team here at ABC6 will continue to track this storm and break in as we deem necessary. But now we're going to switch over to a little bit of news. And if you have ever had a desire to run for office, your chance to get on the November 2024 ballot is right now. Candidate filings are open for municipal races here in Rochester, and many hopefuls have already thrown their name in the ring. ABC 6 News reporter Alex Cotter has more on the candidate filing period.
It's about that time of year again where political ads pop up everywhere. But before campaigning begins, candidates need to get on the ballot.
It's one of the many great privileges in America, running for office.
Coming into City Hall today really felt like the official act and really making sure that it's a sure thing.
The candidate filing period just opened in Rochester for citywide races.
Primarily, they really just need to come here and fill out their affidavit of candidacy. And then they need to be basically all of the regular things. You need to be over the age of 21. You need to be a resident of Rochester for at least 30 days if you're running for any of the local races.
One of the candidates filing to run for office is Randy Schubring. He's looking to become the next city council president.
Lived in Rochester now for 15 years, but city politics and municipalities and how cities grow is just my passion. And so I'm just so excited about this journey.
At 11 a.m. on Tuesday, 8 people had already registered to be a candidate in races on this year's ballot. But it's not just putting your name on a piece of paper. Candidates have rules to follow, like reporting funding for the campaign.
All of that is important for transparency elements, for reporting elements, and just to kind of make sure that your campaign is on course.
Schubring says he's excited for the next few months of campaigning.
I'm going to be out there running all summer, knocking on doors, going to every neighborhood in Rochester, and looking forward to talking to Rochester residents.
Candidate filing closes on Tuesday, June 4th at 5 p.m. For more information on how to get on the ballot, head to our website at kaaltv.com. In the newsroom, Alex Cotter, ABC 6 News.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. And be sure to stay with us. We're going to do one final check in your weather, check in with our crews in the field, and we'll have all that for you right after this break.
Thank you for staying with us. I just want to let everybody know that we no longer have any warnings that are in effect, with the exception of the eastern half of Fillmore County. That storm is making its way on out fairly soon. We still have heavy rain falling in pockets of Olmsted County. And just a heads up, RPU has just posted on their Facebook page as well. They have their crews that are out working to restore power. Safety is number one. It's paramount. They've got to take care of stuff. So give them the time. They're out fully staffed, taking care of these power outages, and they're just going to have to clean up a little bit of a mess. Sometimes they're going to have to make sure that they can safely remove trees or tree branches from fallen power lines. So they're working to restore that as quickly as possible, but we do have power outages in every quadrant of Rochester and then across the area in many communities. So they'll be able to get power restored fairly quickly once all this has passed us by. Hannah Holland out in the field in Austin. Hannah, how are things looking for you right now in Austin?
Randy, yeah, right now it's very much has calmed down. We're kind of assessing the damage right now. And behind me, we're in a neighborhood here in Austin. And behind me, there's another tree that has fallen. And it's just fallen over this backyard fence and kind of all over the backyard area. There's other areas that have trees down in the road and on the sidewalks and are blocking areas, traffic coming through. But that's just some of the damage that's here in Austin right now. Anyways, back to you, Randy.
Hannah, thank you so much. Appreciate your coverage. Glad to hear things are quieter right now. There is going to be a lot for folks to have to clean up across the area. Thank goodness the primary mode was damaging winds. I know that might be a little weird to hear, but it is much better than large, sustained, significant tornadoes, which there certainly was the potential of before, but we've seen the squall line now making its way into Wisconsin. That's where the core of it is. We still have some lingering stronger storms in parts of Fillmore County and Northeast Iowa, and we've got a little bit of a mess we have to clean up. Now, Spencer, do we happen to have any of the headlines handy right now? Can we show the alerts map and take a look maybe at the watch that is still in effect? We did have a tornado watch that was in effect and is in effect until 9 p.m. And we have been cleared of that in Steele County, Freeborn County, and in Mason cities. That's Cerro Gordo County, Hancock, Winnebago, and Worth counties. It's still in effect in southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa, but we are more than likely going to start to see those some of the counties cleared where the squall line has made its way out of here in the parts of Wisconsin.
Which is so great because we were talking earlier that this really could have developed into something extremely serious, and we just avoided that, fortunately, here in our area. Yeah.
You know, the rain that hung in there a little bit longer this morning probably contributed to that too. We just didn't have as much time for the atmosphere to destabilize.
Well, keep it right here on air and online at ABC6. We'll see you back here tonight at 10 o'clock.